So in today's video, I give this lovely Ford Mustang a wash as well as a quick tidy up of the interior. The car isn't particularly dirty, but once the car is clean I can assess the condition of the vehicle and inform the customer of what work I can do to get his car into an even better condition. The car can then be easily maintained going forward. I want to say thank you to all the people that have subscribed to my channel so far, and let you all know that I have purchased some more camera equipment such as an extra battery and a larger storage card. This should help in producing videos in the future. My aim is to start making videos much more regularly, wherever I need to be able to easily film the work on the fly without the filming getting in the way or slowing down the job. The job took place in a covered car park, which definitely has its benefits. It's great to have shelter when it's raining, and also when it's baking hot you can keep the paintwork cool. The negative side of this is the lack of light. In order to get around this problem, I brought with me a set of lights to help illuminate the vehicle. This definitely helped, although I may look into getting a decent quality head torch in the future. So I start with the wheels. I've sped up the footage so you can quickly get a good idea of what I'm doing during this section of the car valet. I start with the tyres and then move on to the wheel arches, giving the wheel cleaning chemicals time to dwell. I then tackle the face of the wheel, the inner barrels and behind the spokes before rinsing all the chemicals and soap away. So I don't know if you can see here, but these brake calipers are too big for me to get my wheel brush in. Even my smallest one. I don't think you could ever get anything in there. I don't know if you can see the size of the gap. Maybe. I can't even get my finger in there. So I forgot to ask the customer if I could roll the car forward and backwards. So I'll have to do that, and then hopefully I can just roll the car forward, exposing, you know, that section of the wheel barrel, clean it, rinse it away, and then just roll the car back, and then that should be fine. But before I do that, I finished cleaning up the remaining wheels and the exhaust tips. The exhaust tips weren't being polished today, so a quick clean with my wheel brushes was all that took place. After this, I gave the customer a quick call to ask if he was okay with me moving his vehicle. So I just got the all clear from the owner to roll the car forward, clean the space behind the brake caliper, and then roll it back. But before I do, I'm just going to dry off the wheel. And just hopefully put a bit of tape where the section needs to be cleaned. Let's see if this works. There you go. Yeah. So I'll do it on this side and I'll do it on the other side, and basically that means that when it rolls around I can see wherever it lands is where I need to clean, because this section of the wheel is the bit that I haven't cleaned because I can't access. So I will do the same on the other side. You can basically see black at this stage, and this is pretty much what I'm dealing with at the moment. But welcome to the world of mobile detailing. It will muscle through. So I'll just stick a bit of tape there. This is just electrical tape, so shouldn't leave any residue or anything. There you go, so that section of the wheel that was once covered is now free to clean. So I'll do that and then I'll get back to you. I then moved on to the paintwork, starting off by giving it a really good rinse with water. I didn't use the foam gun today as the car really wasn't that dirty. The way I usually use snow foam is as a pre-wash. The chemical I use is designed to break down dirt, grime and traffic film, so as this wasn't really present on the vehicle, I felt that it was not necessary. Despite this, I still gave the car a really good pre-rinse, focusing on the front of the car in order to remove as many dead bugs as possible. I washed the car using the 2-bucket method, as this is my preferred method for most situations. The wiper blade arm on this car will rub against the bonnet, so you have to be careful when lifting it. You tend to see this on a lot of cars now, so it's just something to be mindful of. I worked my way from the top of the car down, leaving the very bottom sections of the car to the very end. The fact that the car was sheltered on a cool day meant I could wash the majority of the car before rinsing the soap away. A lot of the time the soap will want to dry much sooner, and as the water where I live is very hard, I don't want this to happen. I then rinse the car using deionized water. The filter I use takes regular tap water and produces much softer water that should not leave any water spots. Here you can see it takes a little time for the water to circulate the resin filter, but this is fine as it's a good indicator that the water has been filtered. I then take a microfiber towel and use my soapy water to wipe away the dirt on the very lower sections of the car. I flip the towel as a build-up of dirt appears. I do this as some cars can be very dirty at the bottom and I don't want this dirt ruining my wash mitt. A microfiber cloth is much cheaper and can be thrown away and replaced for a lot less money. Finally, I rinse the lower sections and the door shuts with the deionized water. The pressure on the pressure washer has also been turned right down so not to blast water into the interior of the vehicle. My Metrovac Sidekick blaster is then used to blow the water out of all the tight spots and areas that seem to trap water. I pay extra attention to the front grille and the side mirrors, as these areas have a tendency to drip for hours if the water is not forced out. Whilst this step takes a bit of extra time, I don't have to worry about the standing water drying on the paint, as I have filtered water, and in the long run, forcing the water out of the crevices actually speeds up the drying process for me, due to not having to constantly touch up spots where the water has dripped from. I then dry the car with a microfiber towel. I like to use a damp microfiber towel and a spray wax to dry the paint. I learnt this technique from Larry at Amma MIC. Despite taking a bit of practice to get the technique right and make it efficient, it actually works quite well. I feel that I'm drying the car more safely using a damp cloth rather than a bone dry cloth, and I'm also adding a layer of protection at the same time. You can see the microfiber cloth initially leave the paintwork quite smeary, but this smeariness tends to evaporate away quite quickly. The spray wax I'm using is Meguiar's Synthetic Express Wax. This spray wax does a great job of leaving a smear-free finish without any effort at all. I clean and dry the door shuts using the same technique. Giving the door shuts a quick rinse and dry every wash really helps to keep them in great condition. Every so often, it's worth using a soft bristle brush and some all-purpose cleaner to break free some of the dirt in the awkward areas. However, for the most part, this Mustang's door shuts were in relatively good condition. I tend not to rinse the boot shuts down as it's hard to keep the overspray from dripping into the interior. However, these areas usually get wet during the wash process, so the spray wax and damp microfiber cloth technique still works well. For dirtier boot shuts, I will use steam or cover the interior with a plastic sheet before using a pressure washer. I do this to avoid any overspray. Finally, I dry the wheels before moving on to the interior. The interior was pretty clean, so all that was necessary is to remove the dust and loose debris, touch up some dirty scuffs and marks, and then a deep clean of the interior glass. I haven't filmed much interior work as of yet, mainly due to it being awkward to film, as well as the camera work getting in the way of the job. This is precisely what happened during this job, which is why I stopped filming the interior in order to get on with the work. However, I have some ideas on how to film the interior without making things awkward. I could do this by using a GoPro for the majority of the footage and my DSLR camera to highlight specific areas. I'll be trying this out in the future videos, so hopefully there'll be some good interior cleaning footage on this channel soon. Next up is every detailer's favourite, glass cleaning. The glass on this Mustang was a bit foggy looking. I have no idea what it was, but in order to remove it, I first do a good wipe down using isopropyl alcohol and a microfiber cloth. This will remove the bulk of the smeariness. I then repeat the same process with the fresh side of a microfiber cloth in order to scoop up even more of the smeary substance. From here, I can then start to finish the glass. I take a low pile microfiber cloth and spritz it with isopropyl alcohol and begin buffing away at any streaks or smears. I immediately follow up with a bone dry microfiber to dry and buff away at any remaining streaks or smears created by the previous cloth. I do the same process on the exterior glass as on the interior. I don't always use isopropyl alcohol on the exterior, however for a first deep clean, this is fine unless there is some kind of water repelling product on the glass that I don't want to remove. I repeated this process around the rest of the car, cleaning up both the interior and exterior glass. As you can see here, this piece of glass was particularly mucky. Unfortunately, my regular technique didn't quite cut it. I figured out that the mess on the glass was paint overspray from where the car had had some work done in the past. In order to remove this, I used some glass cleaner and a razor blade to safely scrape off the paint. It looks like someone may have tried to remove this overspray before, as the glass was very scratched and there were some odd lines where the overspray had been removed. Anyway, the razor blade did the trick. I would typically sort this out on the spot, but as the plan is to perform a protection detail on this vehicle in the future, I decided to note it down and let the customer know that this is an issue I can resolve during the actual detail, as well as some of the other issues I discovered along the way. I finished off the Mustang by dressing the tyres using Carpro Pearl, which is a water-based tyre dressing. Following this, I applied a detail spray to the entire vehicle in order to give it a little extra pop and to remove any fingerprints or smudges that may have been left on the vehicle. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out the aftershots.